Warning, this video contains themes of violence and death. It's made in a documentarian sense and does not seek to glorify or promote illegal activity or harmful behaviors. I made every effort to censor this video to be in line with YouTube's guidelines, though I had to take out a lot of entries for this one. So if you want to see the full, uncut 46-minute version, I put it up on Patreon for $1. We'll first start with the more strange, and then gradually move on to some of the most horrific events that ever happened on Livestream. I made this iceberg myself, and we'll be covering a wide range of topics that certainly isn't for everyone, so fair warning. Atrio, a well-known Twitch streamer with over 330,000 followers, got caught in quite the controversy. During one of his streams, he was playing Hitman, and for a very, very brief moment, he alt-tabbed, showing all the applications open on his computer. I don't know how anyone initially noticed this, but if you pause at the exact frame the windows pop up, you can see a very suspicious tab. Atrio was found to be watching deepfake, which is already strange to have open on your computer. But what's worse is that there were videos of other female streamers. The whole thing blew up when a screenshot from his stream showing the Sites tab was shared online. The screenshot showed the thumbnails of the fake explicit videos showing streamers like Pokemon and Maya Higa. And after this got out, Atrio couldn't deny it. He quickly responded by going live with his girlfriend to admit to everything and to apologize. He said he was just curious about AI and deepfakes one night and ended up on that site, basically, for research purposes. He also posted an apology on Twitter, especially saying sorry to Maya Higa and Pokemon for dragging them into this mess. The affected streamers and wider community were obviously very upset, and after the incident, Rock said he was stepping away from streaming. But he didn't just disappear. He came back with a plan to fight against sites that create and share deepfake content. He partnered with a law firm and even put up $60,000 to help any Twitch streamer who wanted to take down such content. So Atrio made a very, very stupid mistake, but has worked to try and redeem himself. Zillion OP was a disabled streamer who had been wheelchair-bound since 2011 after a bad car crash, and in 2012 he started streaming on Twitch. He got popular for his personality and obviously being in a wheelchair, which is rather unique, drawing about 200 to 400 viewers per stream. His situation obviously led to more subscriptions and donations, with people feeling sorry for his condition. But in 2013, about 6 months into his streaming career, someone hacked his Facebook page. The hacker, who seemed to have very personal knowledge about Zillion, started posting that he could actually walk and was scamming his viewers for money. The hacker made fun of him, accused him of fraud, but didn't prove Zillion wasn't disabled, leading to most people thinking that the hacker was merely trolling and attempting to ridicule his physical limitations. Though, during all these allegations, it was noted that Zillion had previously engaged in questionable activities for personal gain. For instance, on the 10th of January 2013, just 10 days before the Facebook hacking incident, he was banned from playing Diablo 2 for starting a stream with cheats on. He then lied about the reason for his ban, claiming it was due to account sharing rather than the actual cause, which overall caused people to grow slightly more suspicious of Zillion and his willingness to lie. Then, on the 5th of April 2013, seemingly a miracle had occurred on Zillion's stream. Zillion wheeled in frame and then walked out of frame as it appeared he forgot to be disabled. Zillion was promptly banned from Twitch, citing fraud as the reason, as it looked like he was essentially faking a disability for more donations. Twitch also went as far as to offer refunds to his subscribers, reiterating the zero-tolerance policy for such behaviors. Later, Zillion attempted to return to streaming on different platforms, but with limited success due to his tarnished reputation. Years later, he resurfaced under a new alias, It's Bluish, only to be exposed again. However, this time, he presented evidence saying he had been genuinely disabled before recovering over time. In an interview with another YouTuber, Wavy Websurf, Zillion could share his side of the story, admitting that he truly was disabled and wheelchair-bound after his car accident. However, he had been in recovery and was able to walk again, but not well enough to completely abandon the wheelchair, and it was his mistake for not being transparent. As to his viewers, and basically everybody, it looked like he had just switched off his disability, as he had never even mentioned he was recovering from his accident on stream, leaving most to believe he was just permanently wheelchair-bound. His newer account, It's Bluish, was eventually banned for ban evasion. Now, this is likely the most infamous incident on this list as it revolves around the biggest YouTuber at the time, PewDiePie, one of the most subscribed and influential content creators on the platform. The incident in question occurred in September 2017 during a live stream of the game PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or PUBG. In-game, someone had just shot and killed his teammate, and then, in response to that, PewDiePie called the enemy the word beginning with N. Obviously, people were upset because PewDiePie has a huge audience with millions of subscribers, including lots of young children, and this wasn't his first big controversy. Just over 6 months before, PewDiePie had posted a video where he paid some guys on Fiverr to hold up an anti-Semitic sign for a video, though that's another whole story. PewDiePie quickly came back with a rather straightforward and transparent apology, where he acknowledged that being in the heat of the game wasn't an excuse for what he said, and basically said he was an idiot for saying it and it wouldn't happen again. Slicker is a fairly popular variety streamer that does everything from IRL streams to playing CSGO, though that's not why he's on this iceberg. Slicker had a serious problem. Slicker started telling some of his viewers, friends, and fellow streamers that he needed money for urgent things like family problems. But that wasn't true at all. He actually used all the money for gambling online, trying to win back what he'd lost due to his addiction. He ended up taking about $300,000 from people over just a few years, promising to pay them back, but obviously never doing it, with figures like Ludwig and Justaminx being personally owed thousands by Slicker. Eventually, Slicker couldn't keep it a secret anymore. He went live and admitted to everything. He said that he had a gambling problem and lied about needing money for emergencies. This confession obviously made people angry and disappointed, with Twitch even suspending him for a while. Now, Arab Andy, real name Jamal Haas, was a guy who made content by live streaming his life in real time on the internet. He was part of a community that streams their daily activities, though it often comes with doing extreme or controversial things to get more viewers. In Arab Andy's streams, he enabled a feature where viewers could donate money to have their messages read aloud by text-to-speech voice, though this wasn't unique to Andy's stream. It was a growing trend amongst these types of streamers. However, as annoying as these streamers are, Arab Andy took it a step further. On the 31st of May 2018, Arab Andy decided to pull a prank. He walked into a classroom at the University of Washington while live streaming. Someone watching his stream decided to donate money, which triggered a text-to-speech donation saying something along the lines of, "The explosive has been activated." Naturally, this freaked everyone out. The students in the classroom were terrified, thinking it was a real bomb threat, and they all evacuated the room. The police were called to handle what everyone thought might be a serious threat, and then Arab Andy was arrested for what he thought was just a small joke. Though it spiraled even further because making a bomb threat, no matter how genuine you are, is a felony. After facing charges, he was able to post bail of $775,000, however. It was on the condition that he could never in his life live stream or make any sort of content online again. As of now, no one really knows what he's doing. Ice Poseidon is a streamer with a long and complex history. I could honestly make an iceberg about him and his streams, scams, and controversies, but we're just going to talk about a singular incident. Ice Poseidon, during one of his live streams in Los Angeles, came across a group of people who were all looking upwards towards a building, which prompted him to investigate the situation further. Upon joining the group and looking up, Ice Poseidon saw a man standing on a ledge looking down at the crowd, intending to jump off. Ice said he wanted to wait and see what happened and see the police tackle the guy down, though he seemed to be more worried about getting banned on Twitch for showing the incident rather than the man's life itself. As he was moving away from the crowd, the man on the building jumped down, with Ice running away to protect his stream from capturing the event. Fortunately, the man did survive his attempt. Malik Sanchez was an aspiring IRL streamer who streamed their daily activities, though, as with Arab Andy, it often came with doing extreme and controversial things to get more viewers. Sanchez, a self-identified incel, became infamous for his streams that often involved harassment, particularly targeted at women and other forms of public disturbance. On February 13, 2021, Sanchez, inspired by the Arab Andy incident, entered a restaurant in Lower Manhattan, where he began loudly shouting a bomb threat for shock value. "Everybody needs to get out right now. Bomb! I don't care if you think I'm kidding." Sanchez shouted while smiling and laughing in the footage. Malik then moved up to the front of the establishment, pointing the camera at himself while joking about how scared the women were as they fled the restaurant. He then bragged about how many police cars showed up to the scene. Sanchez would later be sentenced to 10 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release for a felony false bomb threat. Johnny Somali is an IRL streamer who does a lot of ridiculous and dangerous stuff to get more viewers, including, but not limited to, trying to get kicked out of hotels and malls for acting out in Japan. Since May 2023, Somali has frequently been live streaming from Japan, where he became widely reviled for racially abusing Asian people, while also joking about the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, often shouting stuff like, "Nagasaki number 2, let's go!" The Japanese police would also be on the receiving end of his harassment after he tried to incite violence against them during one of his streams. Somali was banned on multiple streaming platforms for his antics, though this didn't stop him from constantly creating new accounts to stream from. Somali was finally arrested after he filmed himself barging into a Japanese construction site, calling the workers there racial slurs before being apprehended by the police. Saxon is an extremely unique one in the week leading up to Christmas in 2022. A seemingly ordinary event turned into a horrifying story. Natalie McNally, a 32-year-old woman from Luran Island, was eagerly anticipating the arrival of her first child. Being 15 weeks pregnant, she spent the evening with her parents watching the Qatar World Cup final. Her partner, Stephen McCullough, was a YouTuber known as VotSaxon07, who had gained a large following of 35,000 subscribers through his channel, which primarily focused on toy reviews and reactionary content. Despite the unremarkable nature of his videos, Stephen had cultivated a loyal fan base. On the 18th of December 2022, Stephen announced a surprise live stream, inviting his audience to join him for some festive streamy goodness. This marked a departure from his usual content, as he'd rarely engaged in live streaming over the past 2 years. The announcement was met with enthusiasm from his followers, completely unaware of the grim reality. As Natalie watched the World Cup final, Stephen was preparing for his live stream, which was scheduled to start at 6:00 p.m. This stream would later become a critical piece of evidence in the investigation that followed. After the game, Natalie began her journey home. Meanwhile, Stephen initiated his stream, though noted he wouldn't be able to look at the chat due to technical difficulties because this streaming software is kind of up the left. It means he couldn't check the live chat, which was a real shame, so by all means, talk amongst yourselves. I could use my phone to dip in every now and again and check it, but I've decided that I kind of hate live streams where people just sit. The normalcy of the evening shattered when later that night, Natalie was found brutally attacked in her home. Neighbours reported hearing a scream, but the noise went uninvestigated until it was too late. Natalie was found to have been murdered. Initially, Stephen was arrested as the prime suspect in Natalie's murder, as almost all boyfriends are in a situation like this, with the timing of the crime and his relationship with the victim pointing towards his guilt. However, a crucial piece of evidence seemed to absolve him: the live stream. Stephen had been streaming continuously from 6:00 p.m. to 12:00 a.m., seemingly providing him with an unshakable alibi, as he could not have committed the murder and streamed at the same time. This revelation led to Stephen's release from custody, as he was publicly cleared from any involvement in Natalie's death. Yet, the investigation took another turn when further scrutiny of the live stream and additional evidence suggested a more sinister reality. It was finally realized that the live stream was pre-recorded, allowing Stephen to commit the murder while maintaining the illusion of an alibi. The discovery of CCTV footage showing a man matching Stephen's description near Natalie's home on that night further implicated him. The case against Stephen was solidified when a taxi driver identified him as the passenger he picked up near Natalie's home shortly after the murder. The CCTV footage and the taxi driver's testimony obviously contradicted Stephen's alibi and brought to light his calculated effort to deceive the police and public. The motive behind the murder remained speculative, but Stephen's jealousy is the suspected factor. It was revealed that Natalie had been in contact with an ex-boyfriend shortly before her death, potentially triggering Stephen's actions. The GB Korev incident, often referred to by the title of 1444, represents one of the most disturbing events captured and disseminated through live streaming platforms. On October 17, 2019, Gleb, a young man from Russia, was streaming on VK, the most popular social media platform in the country. Gleb, who was just 18 years old at the time, chose to broadcast his final moments to an unsuspecting audience. The live stream, which consisted of Gleb waving a gun around, lasted for about 3 hours, culminating in a moment of irreversible tragedy as Gleb ended his own time on Earth. As you can expect, the video quickly became a viral phenomenon. The aftermath of the incident was itself disturbing. The video quickly spread on YouTube, amassing over 150,000 views on a completely uncensored and gory upload. The video, simply titled 1444, took 3 days for YouTube to remove, during which it was viewed extensively and shared across multiple more platforms. The video was uploaded to a YouTube channel that was created the same day the video was posted. The channel uploaded several videos between October 17th and October 20th, when it appears all the content was removed. The video's spread was not limited to just direct shares. Users employed a troll tactic by sharing videos that start off innocent, but then would abruptly cut to the 1444 video, catching viewers off guard, and contributing more to the video's spread. Stana Love, known online as Stars, initially focused on gaming and Let's Plays. However, as YouTube gaming became oversaturated, Star shifted his content strategy towards a more lucrative yet morally questionable direction. Star became a proponent of what's colloquially known as trash streaming, a form of content creation where the host performs dangerous stunts or engages in degrading acts for donations. One of the most tragic outcomes of this trend was the incident involving Star's treatment of his acquaintances, and most notably his girlfriend, Valentina. The streams often featured Star performing humiliating and abusive acts on his guests, including a friend of his named Valentina, who suffered from homelessness, alcoholism, and mental health issues. Valentina, lured by the promise of shelter and a share of Star's earnings, endured years of abuse on camera, ranging from physical violence to being tricked into consuming Star's own urine, though that's nothing compared to what happened to Valentina on Star's streams, with incidents of Star assaulting her on camera for donations. The culmination of this abuse occurred on December 2nd, 2020, where during a live stream, Star received a donation of the equivalent of $1,000 to lock Valentina outside on the balcony. So he did exactly that and ended up forcing her outside in -3-degree weather and made her wear just her underwear. Valentina was left out there for about 15 minutes, and when she came back in, Star didn't realize how serious it was until it was already too late. He brought her back inside and put her on the sofa in view of his webcam. What Star didn't realize, or maybe didn't want to believe, was that Valentina was already dead. The cause of her death was actually from Star forcing her outside, with the autopsy showing that the head trauma she suffered from him, in combination with the cold, was the cause of her death. After this happened, Star was arrested and eventually got a 6-year prison sentence for causing her death. Ray J. Shari Black, a 44-year-old nurse, found himself in the center of a series of violent acts broadcast live to a small audience on Facebook. At the heart of Black's descent was an ongoing custody battle. For 3 years, Black tried to maintain a relationship with his kids, amidst accusations from his ex-wife that he was abusive, a claim that he vehemently denied. The emotional toll of these accusations, coupled with the strain of the legal fight for custody, was evident in Black's own words during his live broadcast. He spoke of his struggles, his isolation during the holidays, and a new relationship that also turned sour, leading to legal threats similar to those he was facing from his ex-wife. Meet someone new, and she got pregnant, and we got in a fight. First thing she does is threaten that she's going to do the same thing. Never going to see your kids, blah blah blah. It's the holidays, man. I don't have no family, nothing. On December 11th, 2021, in Baltimore, Maryland, Black's turmoil manifested in the worst possible way. His victim was Tara Labang, a pregnant nurse and former co-worker. After forcibly entering her apartment, the sound of gunshots was captured by a neighbor's security system, and the police discovered Labang's body shortly after, marking the end to both her life and that of her unborn child. But Black's rampage did not end with Labang. He then threatened to kill his ex-wife on the livestream, Wendy Natalie Black, blaming her for his suffering and claiming that she would be his next target. Ray J and Wendy's legal disputes included mutual accusations of domestic violence that were eventually dropped or dismissed. Their relationship, steeped in allegations and counter-allegations, is obviously more than just a very toxic dynamic. Don't play with people's emotions, man. Don't lie on these men. Oh, here's my ex-wife right here. Following the murder of Ray J, he proceeded to Wendy's residence, where he carried out his threat. He killed Wendy before ultimately turning the weapon on himself, all whilst live-streaming the events. He made his final act of violence not only a personal tragedy, but also a public spectacle. The aftermath left 2 children orphaned, with their lives forever altered by the actions of their father. In Gračac, a town in Bosnia, an event happened that was shown live on Instagram by a fitness influencer called Nerman. Nerman was a 35-year-old bodybuilder with a history of violence and involvement in illegal activities, not to mention that he clearly abused steroids, which can result in serious mood swings. Nerman went live on Instagram and told his followers that they were going to see a murder. He showed a woman who was badly beaten and a child crying in the background. He accused the woman, his ex-wife, of keeping their child from him and reporting him for domestic violence. Then, on the live stream, he shot her. After this, he pointed the camera at the child on the floor and said that someone should come save the child before moving on. He then admitted to killing 2 more people, a man and his son, and later live-streamed, trying to escape from the police. He also shot at a police officer and 2 other people, but didn't manage to kill them. The whole incident led to a big emergency in Gračac, with people being told to stay inside. Nerman eventually ended his own time on Earth when he was cornered by the police. We now move on to level 5 of the Iceberg. On a seemingly ordinary day on the 26th of August 2018, a Madden NFL 19 game tournament was being held at the Good Luck Have Fun bar in Jacksonville, Florida. The tournament was attended by approximately 130 to 150 participants and spectators, one of whom was 24-year-old David Katz, who had just lost the game. Katz was a recognized figure due to his previous success in a 2017 Madden tournament where he won $10,000. However, despite his achievements, Katz struggled with mental health issues, having been diagnosed with dysthymia, which is comparable to a very long-term depression, and oppositional defiant disorder, which is essentially the tendency to be overly hostile and argumentative when talking to authority figures, most commonly being school teachers. He also had a history of being involuntarily committed to mental health facilities. The day took a very dark turn when Katz, after losing his match, refused to shake hands with the winner. This act of defiance was only the precursor. Leaving the venue momentarily, Katz returned armed with 2 handguns. What followed was a deliberate and horrifying attack. Katz opened fire, discharging a total of 12 shots. His rampage resulted in the deaths of 2 individuals, Elijah Clayton and Taylor Robertson, known by their aliases True and Spotmiples, respectively. In addition to the fatalities, Katz wounded 10 other individuals before ultimately ending his own life. The chaos and terror of the attack were inadvertently captured and broadcasted live via the tournament's Twitch stream. EA, the publisher of Madden NFL, expressed their condolences and took immediate steps to re-evaluate safety protocols for future events. The Halle Synagogue attack was one of Hugo Jackson's main inspirations, and it unfolded on October 9, 2019. This attack, occurring on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in Judaism, was marked by its brutality and clear intent of its perpetrator, Stefan Balliet, a 27-year-old German neo-Nazi. On the day of the attack, Stefan attempted to force entry into the synagogue using firearms and homemade explosives. His efforts were completely halted by upgraded security measures at the synagogue, including a reinforced door that withstood the gunfire and explosives. Inside, 51 congregants remained unharmed thanks to these security precautions. Stefan had prepared for this day for a long time and live-streamed his attack on Twitch, so, in his failure to breach the synagogue, he was still resolute in harming people, resulting in him finding and murdering 2 individuals and injuring 2 others just outside the synagogue. In the aftermath of the attack, a deeper investigation into Stefan's motivations revealed a manifesto. This document was written in English and echoed the sentiments of other notorious attackers, like Anders Behring Breivik. Further insights into Stefan's psyche were provided by a psychological assessment conducted after the attack. Despite being diagnosed with a complex personality disorder and exhibiting autistic traits, experts determined that Stefan was fully aware of his actions and their moral implications. His intelligence was assessed to be average, with an IQ of 105, but he was also described as a socially isolated individual with a fragile self-esteem. Throughout his trial, Stefan vehemently opposed any suggestions of mental illness, viewing them as attempts to undermine his ideological stance. We now move on to level 6. Alla Alissa is a 21-year-old man who was born in Raqqa, Syria, on the 17th of April 1999. He became a naturalized US citizen at the age of 3. He had a history of psychological disturbances. His family had moved to the US in 2002 and settled in Arvada, Colorado, in 2014. Reports from Alla's brother highlighted a history of paranoid, disturbed, and antisocial behavior exacerbated by bullying during his high school years. On the 22nd of March 2021, Alla, armed with 2 pistols, initiated an attack in a parking lot before moving inside a King Soopers supermarket, dressed in what witnesses described as an armored vest. He indiscriminately fired at people, resulting in a swift and chaotic response from law enforcement and emergency services. The first victim was a repairman, followed by others who were either attempting to flee or caught unaware as Alla entered the store. In total, he claimed the lives of 10 individuals, including a local police officer who was on duty. The live streaming of the incident played a critical role, as a bystander identifying himself as a journalist broadcasted the unfolding situation to YouTube, reaching an audience of approximately 30,000 viewers at its peak. The legal proceedings that followed Alla's arrest were complicated by concerns over his mental competency. Initially found mentally incompetent to stand trial, it wasn't until August 23, 2023, that prosecutors announced that Alla was competent enough, a decision confirmed by a judge on October 6 of the same year. Alla pleaded not guilty by way of insanity, and his bond was set at $100 million. In February 2020, a soldier from Thailand went on a rampage. The tragedy unfolded in a military camp and a crowded mall. The incident began on the afternoon of February 8th. The assailant, stationed at Suranat Phakdi military camp, initiated his deadly rampage by killing his commanding officer and the officer's mother-in-law at their residence. The situation escalated rapidly as the gunman raided the military camp's armory. In a somewhat bold move, he also commandeered a Humvee, leaving the base to sow terror in the heart of the city. The gunman was identified as 31-year-old Sergeant Major Yakrapanth Thoma, described by acquaintances as deeply grieved by a property transaction grievance with a superior. Thoma's actions on that fateful day seemed to stem from a profound sense of betrayal and injustice. His military training and expertise in marksmanship only served to help him carry out his attack. Throughout the ordeal, as you might have guessed, Thoma live-streamed much of the event through his Facebook account. The violence spilled onto the streets and reached its climax at the Terminal 21 Korat shopping mall, a bustling centre filled with shoppers due to a public holiday at the time. Thoma's path to the mall was filled with indiscriminate shooting, claiming lives along the way. Upon arriving at the mall, he continued his assault, killing randomly and taking hostages. The siege at the mall became a protracted nightmare, with the gunman engaging in a standoff with authorities. Efforts to apprehend Thoma included the deployment of the police and military forces, and even an attempt by his mother to persuade him to surrender. The standoff concluded on the morning of February 9th, when Thoma was neutralized by the police. Thoma's use of Facebook to live-stream parts of his attack was fairly quickly removed, but the broader criticisms of the attack were focused on the military and government and what systematic failures allowed such an attack to occur, as questions were justifiably raised about the military security protocols and the ease at which Toma accessed weapons. And that concludes our video. If you want something else to watch or listen to, you can check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll like. Thanks for watching.